Hey everyone, this is AJ with Everyday Patio and welcome back to another patio cover video. So today we're going to be showing how to build a louvered patio cover by 4 Seasons Building Products. This is a new product line, so I'm going to write all the steps on the bottom so you guys have a basic understanding of how the build's going to go. And then I'll explain the steps as we're going. So first off, check your material, make sure you have everything. There isn't too much to the parts list on this, but basically posts, louver blades, wrap kit, and gutters, and then hardware to put it all together. Those are the louver blades. And this is part of the wrap kit header ledger board combo. So those are all going to be 2x8s for the ledger, gutter, and wrap kit. And he's notching the left and right side on this one for the wrap kit to cover the header and the ledger open space that you'll see. There's going to be a bracket, so it's basically to give the build a more clean look to it, a finished modern look. The installers in this case were using hand saws to circular saws to cut everything down. That's a pretty good technique because it doesn't leave any like burrs or anything. You could use a grinder as well to go through the extruded aluminum. And that's the bracket I was telling you about that the wrap kit's going to cover the open face of that 2x8. And this is where they notch the gutters about 5 5/8 for the side wrap gutters to fit inside. So you'll see when we put up the frame of the patio cover, there's going to be an open section for a gutter on the left and right side, and that's what's going to fill in. It's going to sit right there inside the gutter. So they're building the whole ledger frame on the floor. You wouldn't technically have a ledger if it was a freestanding patio cover. This would just be the first header and the second header. But in this case, we're going to pre-drill this ledger to be installed on the inside of the showroom. And those are the pivot strips. The pivot strips are what the louver blades are going to sit into once you put up the frame. So you just want to make sure there's a gap on each side, about 3/4 of an inch. And then from the first place where the louver blade's going to sit into that you can see right there, you don't want there to be a gap of more than 4 inches on each side because that means you can fit another louver blade into the installation. And those are those holes I was talking about that you would pre-drill so you can use lags into the wall for an attached patio cover. For a freestanding patio cover, you don't need to pre-drill any holes. You're just going to build the frame and then fill in the gutters on the side. So I think we went with around 8 feet on this post height, and we went with the inset post design. So we're going to notch 2 sides of the post, and the gutter and wrap kit are going to sit inside of those post locations. So it's going to give it a clean, no overhang look. There's other ways you could design this, but it's up to customer preference. I've seen people inset the header beam and post. I've seen people also just put them right on the inside of the gutter and wrap kit as well. And here's where we're notching it to be able to put the gutter and wrap kit in. It's all hard metal extruded aluminum frame on this, so it's a really sturdy structure. And here's the ledger being installed. So it was 24-inch on-center steel studs against the wall. Typically you're going to be attaching to a house, so you just want to make sure you're hitting wood every 16 inches. There was some lags we got from Home Depot that were about 7 inches, usually meant for decking, but were really ideal for the application of these roofs. It helps support those ledgers. And that's that notched wrap kit piece that I was telling you about that's going to create a clean finish right there. It basically covers the opening of the front ledger, so you're not looking into it. That's the other side of the wrap kit being put up. That's the gutter piece I was talking about that fills in the left and right side of the wrap kit. So that's why you notch your gutter, so you're able to sit that gutter inside of there. And then you're gonna seal all the corners. Those are the louver pins. So the louver pins basically are what make the louver blades open and close. So you hammer those in, and then you're gonna kind of twist them into place when you put the louver up, like twist it back and forth about 180 degrees each way, and you're gonna hear it click into where the opening on that louver blade is. Overall, they go up pretty quickly. When you're cutting your louver blades to size, you want to have about an inch shorter than where the pivot pins are. That way the pivot pins can sit into those link bars easily. And here's where we're installing the link bar. So this is what, once you attach the actuator motor of the louver, this is what's going to open and close the louver. If this was a freestanding installation, you wouldn't need to reach up and over. You could come around the side of the patio cover. But in this case, we're having to reach over, put on the washer, pop the place into the link bar. That's what's going to move the roof back and forth. You want them to be a little bit loose, not super tight, because it's going to have to move. And here we're going to be showing the installation of the battery, solar panel, switch, and actuator or motor. So I did a basic electrical diagram down there so you kind of know the steps you got to take for all of this to work. There's basically two different ways. You could go solar panel battery to power your motor, or you could go inverter, switch, actuator, motor to power the system. I would personally use an inverter just because you don't have to worry about the battery dying or anything happening or shorting. If you put the inverter in the system and power it from your house from an AC system, then the inverter is going to take it to a DC electrical, which is low voltage, which is what the actuator uses on the louvered patio cover. We're going into depth to just show you the positive and negative connections off of the battery are going to go into the switch, the remote, and then from the remote, that's going to go into the actuator, the motor. So it might look complicated, but it's a fairly simple electrical setup. Basically, you're going from low voltage into the low voltage motor. But like I said, if you were using inverter, you'd just be going from high voltage to low voltage. The louvers don't take much power anyway, so this battery solar panel setup would work really good as well. And that's the motor working. So you just test the actuator, make sure it's working. That little nut and bolt that you see coming off the actuator, you're going to attach that to the link bar through a 3/8 hole that you're going to drill between the 4th and the 5th louver blade. And then you mount on the 2x8 the motor actuator, and that's what's going to pull the cover open and closed. So it's fairly simple. It's good that you don't have to like build it into the system. You can just put it on the side of it after it's all installed. So I thought that was really good for installation. That's the link bar and actuator connected. And then they used a 2x8 cover piece to protect it from what would be the rain and to cover the actuator. I just want to say thank you to Four Seasons for letting us be a part of this build and letting us record it and do our own video on it. We appreciate it, and I want to say thank you everybody for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.